Okay, so this video is Anti-Capitalism is Anti-Vegan by, shocker, a white vegan. Hooray! Let's see. Look, I'm not a vegan, nor am I a capitalist, so let's see how this goes, you know? Let's see how this works. By everyone's favorite, of course, Unnatural Vegan. Very, very, very good. I definitely understand. We have storm windows there. It's super heavy. All right. Oops. Nope. Wait, what? Huh.
I do think that anti-capitalist sentiment is inherently anti-vegan. A couple months ago, I did a Q&A, and one of the questions was about my political ideology, and I was asked if I considered myself neoliberal, and I said, yeah, I would consider myself neoliberal.
I would consider myself a neoliberal. Oh my god. Imagine like identifying as a neoliberal. I don't. Ugh. Oh, sorry. I just had a little heave. She doesn't know what it means? Wait. Okay. Let me see if I know what it means. Definition. Neoliberal, favoring policies that promote free market capitalism, deregulation, and reduction in government spending. Yeah, an advocate or supporter of free market cap. Yeah, okay. That's pretty much what I had. I wouldn't have said it like that, or, you know what I mean? I would have said other stuff that they like. But yeah, that's a neoliberal. Free market capitalism, deregulation, and reduction in government spending. Okay. A conservative. Yes, it's a conservative, yeah. Now, a liberal definition should be different than that. It should be like democracy and shit. Willing to respect or accept behavioral opinions different from one's own. Oh, that's liberal. Support policies that are socially progressive and promote social welfare. Yeah. This should be, like, this is like a liberal is kind of a progressive. Kind of. But they usually, my difference between a liberal and a progressive personally, and you probably can't see that very well. Maybe we'll make it a little bit bigger. You can see through just up top here or something. My difference here is kind of like they say these things, but they kind of don't know why. Like, oh yeah, I don't care if the gays marry. Like, instead of like understanding the conversation, it's like, did you want promote social welfare? Like, and you don't know why these are important. You smell me? It's like being a passing the math test without showing the work, kind of. That's what a liberal is versus a progressive. More like regressive, am I right, gamers? True.
And then I kind of gave a little bit more detail, expanded on that a bit in a follow-up Q&A, because the comments on the first one, people were kind of mad at me. It ranged from,
well, yeah,
people confusing neoliberalism and libertarianism, they're not the same thing, to kind of like you're dead to me type comments for not opposing capitalism, even equating it to fascism, even saying that it was inconsistent with veganism.
Oh, so it's very inconsistent with veganism.
To address it, the kind of extreme anti-capitalist sentiment and how that relates to
a conservative that likes gays. Someone said likes is a strong word. Probably tolerates.
For those who don't know, neoliberal is like your typical left-leaning social progressive, but
no, it isn't. What? Neoliberal is your left-leaning social progressive? What? Oh no! No! I didn't know it was this bad. I actually didn't. I didn't know she didn't know any of the things that she was talking about. Oh, okay. You couldn't Google this for 2 seconds? Like, I literally was like, moments ago, well, let me double check and see if my definition of neoliberal is correct so that we're talking about the same thing. You know what I mean? Like, just check yourself. That's fine. We don't have to go in here like dad who won't ask for directions lost on the highway in 1985. You know what I mean? You can just look at your phone now. Getting lost is there's no excuse for that unless you don't have service. Neoliberalism is basically just anarchism, don't you know? True. That's exactly what neoliberalism is. Oh boy. Wow.
But also being generally pro-free market with few restrictions on a lot of industries.
How can you be progressive and pro-free market? At least you're saying this part. At least you're saying this part correctly. I'm progressive, except none of the progressive stuff, only free market, low regulation.
Like housing, but also very pro-welfare state, as libertarians would say.
That's not what... No, you're not. What? Okay.
Neoliberals want a substantial safety net, often even supporting public options, like healthcare, for instance. Not all neoliberals do. Of course, there's going to be disagreement when the private options aren't serving the public. Conservatives often accuse neoliberals of being socialists because they accuse everyone of being socialist, advocating for higher taxation.
I do agree with this part. They do accuse everyone of being a socialist. But you know what's weird? They call them liberals. And so I'm just like, no, you're wrong. You're a social democrat and don't get it. I don't know if you're a social democrat. She just said she likes the free market a lot. A lot. I don't know. Who likes the free market a lot? My thing with the free market is we're sort of beholden to it, whether we like it or not, for a period of time. It's like jumping into a pool and then getting out of the pool and expecting yourself not to still be wet. You know what I mean? Slurp. But we can't just immediately be dry of the things. We need to start walking out of the ocean of capitalism. We're still going to be wet for a little bit, you know what I mean? But we'll dry off over time. This is kind of the idea here, right? You can't just snap your fingers and be out of the markets or out of specifically the capitalist free market. You still have markets and stuff within leftist policy and whatever, especially because you have to progress leftward. You can't just snap your fingers and be leftward. It takes also social zeitgeist and stuff. I mean, there's just lots that goes into it. Yeah, it's just next step towards the good stuff while doing it as rapidly as you possibly can get it done. There's no such thing as a free market. Oh, we know that. But like, you don't have to bring that up here. Yeah, there's no such thing as a free market. It's a market for those that have the money to do so usually. So capitalists gets us wet. I'm not liking. I mean, you could talk about lava, but we can't do it. Or a house that's on fire, if you'd rather. A house that's on fire, right? You need to put the fire out, but it takes a while to put the fire out. That's fine too. I don't know, whatever the thing you want. I like my version better because it's definitely more descriptive of how it works. But I mean, that's why I make the big bucks. That's why I make the big bucks. As Keemstar would say. What did you say? I don't know. If you don't have the good metaphors, just I'm just built different or something. You know what I mean? You'll make the cons cry. Nurseomancer, hi. Nice Ms. Kiff comfy. Hey, I have a better emote for the comfy. I'm just tossing that out there. Nurseomancer, you should subscribe to me. I have a way better comfy emote. Okay? That's like, no disrespect to Ms. Kiff, but like full disrespect. Look at that fucking thing. That's fucking, you've never seen anything comfier than that. Nope. Sorry, Surfs. Not quite on my level. Do love the puppy. Not quite there. I dare you to subscribe. I dare it. Anyway. Nope. DSA, rip. Not quite there. B team. A little B team action over there. It's okay. The A team will hang out with our comfy corns, all right? Loomies is pretty cute, though.
Baby bird.
I like Loomies. But it's not as good, though. Maizelbub, thanks for giving one a Nurseomancer. Loomie has 3. Yeah, I saw.
Welfare. But ultimately, the wealth in society that funds that welfare is generated by capitalist mechanisms.
Boy!
Same is the case in, what people call European socialism, which isn't really socialism by definition. Still relies on profit motive, still has private ownership, even if a few select industries are publicly owned.
Okay, but it's not really just a few select industries that are publicly owned. They have like ridiculous unions that are super strong, so it's like the same thing as being publicly owned. Like they just happen to luck out with a better social zeitgeist than us when it comes to the discussion of unions. That said, it's not good enough in the long term, but it's definitely a step that we need to be. Like, again, they're a stepping stone. It's like we should get to that point, not stop there. That's not like. I feel like liberals always have this problem, right? They have really good labor like organization in the Nordic countries. They also what'd she say? As far as like the revenue is generated on capitalism. It's like you don't need capitalism to generate revenue to make money for things. Also, money fake. It's hard to describe these things because they're like, nah, money is real, and they pull out like a dollar bill or something. It's like, really? Money not real. You know how I know? I have a Robinhood account. Money not real, dude. Money not fucking real. I've lost 55 fake dollars tonight. Not real. They're not real. They're not a thing. Like Bitcoin is worth $37,000. For what reason? Because people decided it did. It's not a real thing. It's not real. It's only got utility because another person agrees. But if someone doesn't want money from you, nothing. Nothing will happen. Oops, I was gifted while simultaneously subbing. Pepe hands? Oh, no. Well, I guess you could just gift that to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Somebody that needs a nice Snuggie. No, see, none of those are as good. None of those are as good. Some of them are very cute. I'm really happy. I like the Lottie one a lot. I like Lottie a lot. But, sorry. No one's as snug as little Cabarino there, okay? Nobody in the whole world. Dogecoin is also not real. Sorry.
Since socialism is commonly defined as like a transitional state to communism, communism being the goal, I'm going to focus on communism here. So why are neoliberals generally pro-free market and anti-communism?
Oh,
is the question.
Okay.
I want to answer. Philosophy is...
Wow, that was a weird way to deliver that.
Essential.
Nice hair, Jake. Thank you.
Comes to ethics. But you can't just like think really hard to figure out empirical...
There's some answer. Also, thanks for the follow, man. 4C FPV, thanks.
Facts, right? Like when it comes to economics and economic policies.
I really got to pay attention because this person is has a lot of fucking subscribers, and I actually don't know why. She's not terribly engaging. What's going on here? I'm actually interested in this. She's actually not that engaging at all. I don't know why. Why did she say something particularly good at one point? She's female? I don't think it's because she's female. You guys are saying female? I don't think vegan? Might be vegan. Cute? Sure. I guess if that's what you're I mean, when she said liberal, my pee-pee went to sleep, so her vegan videos were pretty good. Maybe that's it. Maybe when she's, I don't know, she doesn't have like any like, I don't know. Like when I think about shit, even Blair White kind of like has better delivery, you know what I mean? I fucking hate her. She's a decent vegan activist. No, anti-capitalism, anti-vegan. We'll see. DGCO, thanks so much for the 18 months.
And which actually work in practice, which result in a functioning system that promotes a GDP that's conducive to human well-being. You can think up an ethical system in which it is wrong for one person to ever profit off the work of another person. You can call that exploitation, but in order to put that into practice, you have to just not care about the consequences at all.
What? If you don't exploit someone, you can't... What? Oh my god. Did you know that you could just tie that person, like let them share in the profits and then it's not exploitation? Wow. Henry Elsewhere, why don't you stick around and find the fuck out, bro? Why don't you find out? Why don't you just, hey Henry, why don't you, you know what I mean? You get it? You know what I'm saying? Why don't you, stick around.
You would have to ignore all of the times communism has been tried and all of the times it has failed. No!
I didn't know we were doing this. I didn't know it was going to be like,
nah, but what about the fucking USSR? What about Venezuela?
Mao! Ho Chi Minh! Okay.
Which is every single time it's been tried, it has failed.
It has failed against usually the United States. Who's gonna crush the United States when we're like, you know what? I think everyone should get health care. You know what I mean? Who's coming in and being like, well, we're gonna fuck you up now. I can't think. Wait, has there been a besides the USSR, which had a lot more baggage than just communism in it? I have Jade. Thanks for gifting one to Bobby. Appreciate you. Is there a white country, like a white country? You know what I mean? Like where you think about it, you go, that's a white person that has tried communism besides the USSR that got fucked up. I don't think there is there? I can't think of one. Like something that white people would consider white. You know what I mean? I don't think that's a thing. I'm trying to think. I can't. I'm right. Yugoslavians white? Some parts of it. When white people think of Italy and Spain, I can guarantee, especially American white people, they do not think white. It's arguable Russia was not white back then too. Slavs weren't. That's fair. That is fair. The Slavs weren't considered white people. The Nazis. Catalonia may count. Catalonia? Catalonian. What's a Catalonian look like? Let's see. Nope. No. Look, if you're not white, you don't get it. Growing up with casual racism, okay? There's no way a white person doesn't go at some point to this person go, where are you from? You know what I mean? You have to pass the where are you from test. There's a few people, but majority of Catalonians, like there are some liberal ass, microaggressive ass, racist white people. Where are you from? You know what I mean? Where are you from? You passed the white check. You know what I mean? This guy doesn't. Like, I don't know. If you're not white, you probably don't get it. There's just this weird, like, oh, they're obviously different. I don't know why. That's baked in. Probably because other racist bullshit. But like, I don't know. White people are like programmed to clock other people. It's fucking strange. Like socially programmed. Hispanics aren't on the white scale. Well, again, you have to be white passing. Like people give. Like if you're Hassan, you know what I mean? Look at Hassan. He's not particularly not white passing, right? He's just a little hairy. He's a little look at that. Look at what a stud muffin. You know what I mean? So sometimes people are like, you're just white when they didn't understand, but his name is Hassan. So sometimes he gets this. So he might understand the sort of like anybody who's like racially ambiguous. The white people going, where are you from shit is so real. By white, Jake is referring to stereotypical. So I'm specifically referring to a white American person. Usually they would end up being on the conservative scale or the liberal scale, right? They would often, do some Karen type activities from time to time, which is a little sexist, but that's okay. And yeah, they do that. They're the kind of people that like touch black people's hair without asking, or like say dumb shit like, what type of Asian are you? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I would have voted for Barack Obama twice. We're living out tonight, as we know. So you're exotic looking. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Type of Asian. They literally say that shit. I probably used to say that shit. I just don't recall it, but I guarantee that was like a thing that was just. And then once you like realize that's a thing, you go, "What the?" You should go, "What the fuck?" And just never engage with that shit again. Most people are Asian. No. I don't need your fucking statistics. Gimara, thanks for following. This is painful. Oh yeah. Anyway, that's this individual. Lance is a great example of white passing. Yes.
It has caused immeasurable suffering and death.
Rarbin, thanks for following.
I'm a consequentialist. I care about consequences in terms of suffering. Most people care more about having a job, helping their family.
I care about consequentialism. By the way, big fan of capitalism. What? I care about harm, but boy, capitalism, that's the way to go. Least amount of harm possible. Okay.
Than they do about some abstract principle that says it's wrong for their bosses to make a profit off of their labor. And I care more about what people want than I do deciding what people want for them or what I think is better for them based on some sort of cosmic justice.
That's not what that means. What? What? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. We have to keep going. I can't even. Slavery is. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Injustice in and of itself is not harm. It's only harm when the consequences of injustice actually harm people or sentient beings. And that harm can range from material harm, disease, lead in your water being shot, to immaterial harm like damaged self-esteem. There may be...
What the fuck are you talking about? Immaterial harm. Did you know? Damaged self-esteem. Yeah. You know what's really immaterial? Emotions. You know how I know they're immaterial? Because it only happens in the brain, which isn't immaterial. Wait a second. Wait. Emotional distress is actually physical harm? And physical things happen to you when you are under emotional distress. And the only reason that we disassociate the brain from the body is because our brain is the way that we gain cognition and we separate ourselves from our body. Oh, that's my arm, not a piece of me. You know what I mean? What? Wow. Strange. You got chemicals in your brain? Yeah. See, you even said my brain, which is a way that we do that, but it is me. It is me. My brain is me. I have chemicals in me. If you hit my brain, it's me that you're hitting. You know what I mean? Stress physically harms you in so many ways. Not only that, but like it is physical. Feeling stress is literally physical. We need to stop. We need to get over the idea that like mental and physical are like different things. They're not.
Be some level of inevitable harm there when we're talking about capitalism. I'm sure there is, but
you're sure there's inevitable harm in capitalism? Why do you think why do you think factory farming is a thing? What? Because capitalism. What?
But that only matters if there is an alternative that is better. That if the harm that capitalism causes is worse than some sort of evidence-based alternative. But there is no evidence-based alternative. Or there is one, but the evidence goes in the opposite direction. Talking about ending capitalism because of the inevitable harms without some solution, without something that actually works better, is like talking about ending food because food on some level is inevitably harmful.
There is an alternative. What? But there's alternative. What? Literally, we're talking about the alternatives. This is such a liberal fucking, we can't have better things. Better things are unattainable, so we might as well just do the best with what we have. Oh my God, bro. There's like 3 alternatives. There's several alternatives. Capitalism is clearly not the answer. It's clearly not the answer. Like, so if the idea is we want to mitigate harm for people, animals, any living thing, if we want to maximize happiness, and these are our two issues: minimize harm, maximize happiness, right? Capitalism serves neither of these, because capitalism specifically says harm and happiness, they're not part of the program. Capital is. just accruing capital. If you minimize harm or increase happiness while achieving capital, those are side effects. Those are bugs, not features. Like this is this is not the way to do it. Now, no one, I think, is saying if we do socialism, if we do communism, whatever, we're definitely going to be 100% happy. It's like, no, we're still going to have problems. We literally don't know the problems that we're going to face in the future. I have no idea what the next thing is going to be. That is, I don't know. The next social thing that will be on the scale of like trans issues. Can't foresee it. I'm sure it's out there. I'm sure we'll experience it. And then once we win that battle, we'll go on to the next thing, right? It's like we'll always have some, probably intersex people. Maybe there's not that many intersex people. Maybe that's why they're doing it. They already kind of do that to intersex people. They're just not. They're just sort of erased. Anyway, communism has never worked, never scaled, never was successful. Sure, I guess. Oh, I'm not trying to be communist tomorrow, so it doesn't really matter. It's relevant to the conversation, Mr. Guy. The conversation is, what can we change today about capitalism that isn't working? And again, it's stuff that we always talk about. Education, healthcare, housing, food, internet access. I mean, what more do you need? Like, we could do that literally tomorrow. I'm a communist in heart? Of course, me too. Absolutely. But, like, we can't do it tomorrow, so let's work on what we can do. You know what I mean? What can we do tomorrow? Whatever we could change tomorrow is what we should be working on next. And when we run out of things we can change tomorrow, let's move on to what we can change over the course of more time. You know what I mean? But we have a lot of stuff we have a lot of stuff we got to work on to even get to that point. We have to work towards collectivizing in the workplace, democracy in the workplace. Like, until we have that, we certainly can't do anything remotely communist, right? We have to get money incentives out of politics. You can't have capitalism driving what should be an ethical or an ethically driven system, right? You can't have a system really where people can be in those political spaces at the literal end of their natural life and have anything like that resonates with the bulk of people between, early voting age of 18 and like 40s, right? If you're in your 60s and 70s, you just can't keep up with that. So we have to have different. Yeah, we have a lot of things that we need to work on. So, anyway.
True, but maybe dying is worse. Regulated capitalism with a strong safety net is the best system we have, based on the systems we actually have evidence on.
It isn't. Maybe it's because she doesn't understand that you can have markets and stuff outside of capitalism. I don't know. I think she, I don't know. Doesn't really make sense.
Which is to say, probably quite a bit more welfare than we currently have in the U.S. It's unreasonable to advocate for hypothetical alternatives when they range from untested to repeated failures. Again, you can't just reason out the ideal economic system for humans or for a particular country without evidence in practice. That's
literally not true. It's literally not true. Capitalism did not come out of means testing. It just didn't. Capitalism it sprouted from feudalism. Like, this is not true. This is just not how things work. Barter system moved into different forms of capitalism over time through feudal systems. It's like, it always works that way. Nomadic tribes using barter system between each other, agricultural revolution, they have more static sort of settlements, they expand. Eventually, barter system doesn't work because you need people to specialize in their different kind of work because everybody needs something different, and services change as you start to create communities. So then you see things like currency pop up all over the place. You see this in Harappa. You see this in Egypt. You see this in the Fertile Crescent. You see this in fucking Asia. You see this in Northern Asia. You see this in the Indian subcontinent, which is Harappa. Well, that was more of like the Punjab area and sort of like Pakistan, India border. But that moved over. It moved west and south into the Indian continent. I mean, you see this in Mayan and Incan. You see this in First Nations people in North America. I mean, like at a certain point, you move towards more of a symbolic thing. Like for instance, Native American traders. There was like fur trade and stuff, but they also had like beads and things. Like they didn't have and shells. They didn't have like value, right? As far as like what I can use, but it was definitely like a show of good faith, as sort of like I can trade. Now it wasn't obviously 1-to-1 with currency, and sometimes obviously there was a barter where it was like I need food, you need food, or whatever. But there was dabbling with currency. Colonizers just stunted that culture. Surprise. Same thing later on. You have all these different ideas, and then once that happens, then you have landlords, people that are like, well, I'm the one that has this, and that's why lords exist and kings started existing. That's feudalism. And then you pay taxes to that person, and then they distribute the taxes and trickle down while they are incredibly wealthy, and everybody else is typically not that wealthy. And then what you have out of that is then you get into places like Athens, where democracy was invented. And then when democracy is invented, you have, again, classism, because you have upper crust people, white landowning men, typically throughout all of Europe. In Rome, women could do the things, and they kind of were the people that ran businesses, and the men were kind of the politicians. Anyway, it changes over time, but really, it's always a progressive thing that just sort of naturally happens. They weren't like, what's the next economic system we could do? We got to a point where we could be comfortable enough to think about these economic systems. You don't need to test them with actual like human interaction. You can be like, guys, do you like a thing? And they go, yeah! And then you do it. That's it. It's the whole thing. Do you want to do that? Yeah! Okay, we're doing it. And then you do it. That's really the point, right? Do you want health care? 77% of Americans, regardless of political affiliation, agree. Yes! Okay, we'll do that. And then they just don't. Right? Because we're not actually represented, which is another reason we have to break out of this idea that fucking 75-year-old people have our interests in mind. How could they? They're not us. Like, I don't even necessarily blame someone that old for not understanding what I'm about, right? I hope I am not hip with the kids when I'm 75. I should be fucking chilling on a beach in my fucking sandals, okay? I should not be, privy to your robot rights. You know what I mean? I should be the boomer, okay? I better be the bad guy, or you guys aren't doing well, okay? Zoomers, I'm talking to you. If I'm not the bad guy in 30 years, what the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you happy just chilling? Work harder. I better be the bad fucking guy, okay? That's all I gotta say. But not now. We don't have an excuse. We're millennials. Come on.
Being rational, it's not being scientifically minded.
You're dumb.
It's being dogmatic.
You're
I've
dumb.
talked before about how not all use is abuse. The same goes for exploitation, which refers to unfair use. Some vegans say you can't be vegan unless you are socialist or communist, but there's nothing in the term or the definition that is anti-capitalist.
Okay, let's see. Is there anything in this that is anti-capitalist? Veganism is a philosophy and a way of living which seeks to exclude, as far as is possible and practicable, all forms of exploitation of and cruelty to animals for food, clothing, or any other purpose. By extension, promotes the development and use of animal-free alternatives for the benefit of animals, humans, and the environment. In dietary terms, it denotes the practice of dispensing with all products. Okay, so this is anti-capitalist. Does anyone know how? Anyone know how? This is objectively anti-capitalist. Because what is capitalism, chat? Capitalism is the pursuit of profit. You did it. And if you have exploitation. I could exploit and get profit, or not exploit and get less profit. Which one they gonna choose? More profit or less profit? More. It's anti-capitalist. This is not how anything works. Come on. This is explicitly anti-capitalist. You just don't understand what that means. Pop quiz: why is capitalism called capitalism? It's in the pursuit of capital.
So the argument is something like veganism
Have a good night, Lewis.
means no exploitation.
Hey, did you follow? You gotta follow, Lewis. You gotta follow. Don't leave yet. You have to become part of the corn cult.
Her ramble was
There you go. Yes, the first step. The first step towards full cult leadership. Veganism means no exploitation. Okay, failed.
Exploitation is capitalism. Therefore, veganism means no capitalism.
Exploitation is capitalism? No. Exploitation is exacerbated in capitalism due to the pursuit of profit over concerns for exploitation. That is the better way to say that. Because I'm super smart. I'm like at least 30, 40 IQ. Minimum. Hey, Jeff, thanks so much for giving one to Lewis. Appreciate that. Paying forward the gift? Your first gift sub ever? Thank you. Veganism means no exploitation. Okay? Exploitation is Exploitation is exacerbated by capitalism because capitalism is only the pursuit of profit and is not necessarily taken into account exploitation. Yeah. Actual Jake Smartman. True. Actual smart.
Two very big problems with this. First, you
Okay.
have to accept the very specific Marxist definition of exploitation/capitalism.
Okay, let's do it. I got to be in a bird sanctuary at 6 hours and go to after work, so I'm headed out, Jake. It's been cool. Glad to be here. Have a good night. Hey, yeah, habitual dodo. Enjoy the bird sanctuary. I hope you enjoy your bird friends. Jake's brain is more wrinkled than an old man's ball sack. Yeah, but my ball sack is smooth as eggs. Exploitation of labor is a concept defined as, in its broadest sense, one agent taking unfair advantage of another agent. Okay. Marxist state is Marxist's state. It is a social relationship based on an asymmetry of power between workers and their employers. True. When speaking about exploitation, there is a direct affiliation with consumption in social theory, social theory, and traditionally this would label exploitation as unfairly taking advantage of another person because of their inferior position, giving the exploiter the power. So specifically, it's the unfair advantage. So in any non-capitalist situation, we always talk about, and usually from an anarchist perspective, like no unjust hierarchy. That doesn't mean no hierarchy. That means no unjust hierarchy. There's an adjective there. It's important. That describes the noun. Surprise. And you can have fair hierarchies. So I would be good at corn-based streaming, for instance. If you need a corn-based streamer, I'm your fucking guy. All right, okay. If you need nice beats, I suggest Bobby Fino. Okay, not good for the beats, not good for it. If you need someone to be a bottom, you could go to Evotion. If you need someone to teach, you want to teach. You want teacher to students. Yeah, exactly. So there are people that have expertise, and you need to listen to them. Dr. Fauci is a good example of someone who has a just hierarchical standpoint in a communist system, if that were the case, right? Just in full-blown communism. Doctors are still things. Listen to the doctor. Like, what? It's amazing to me that some people are like, well, we're all equals then. No, we're not all equals. We're all equally treated, hopefully. And there's a lot of theories that go into place. Like a doctor should be more well compensated. However, compensation is manifested, sure, and I'm fine with that. I'm fine with the idea that someone is compensated excessively. Not to mean like morbidly excessive, just in excess to what they need. If they have expertise in something that is highly valued in the community, 100% fine with that. But there's a problem with that when people think, oh, okay, so we're just living in the fucking trailers and shit. It's like, no, I want everybody to have a base standard of living. We can determine what that base standard is, what every person deserves as just a human being. What's the base level of living that you deserve? And then start there and work our way up. I'm fine with that. Most people aren't going to opt into just like chilling right there, right? But you got to get rid of classism too, because there's a situation where we have this sort of like social indignation towards someone that's like, okay, this is just kind of how I want to live. Like personally for me right now, how I live in this house, minus the fact that I want to change the space around a little bit, but make some changes in the house. But insofar as like where I live, I could live here and be very happy. I don't need a bigger house. I'm happy with the size of the house. I like my dog. I like my yard size. I like my cat. I like my girlfriend. Like I got stuff that I like. I'm very, very content. Right? So I don't need a bunch of shit. It just depends on what you need as a person to be happy, and that's what we should try to accomplish. They probably don't have more corn, Tom. They probably don't. Anyway. This fucking person. This is a bad video.
Which is essentially...
She should be embarrassed that she made this video. Look at that thick cobby. He's so cute.
The question, when you define anti-exploitation as requiring Marxism because you've defined capitalism as inherently...
Anti-exploitation doesn't require Marxism, but it does require a lack of capitalism. You can't... There's no situation in which exploitation is limited under capitalism. Right? Unless you heavily regulate it, at which point it becomes pretty much market socialism. Automation is the only automation is only a problem. I thought you said, okay. I misread that for a second. I thought you said automation is the only problem under capitalism, and I was about to roast you tremendously, but that was my fault. So you consider yourself unroasted. Automation is only a problem under capitalism. Yeah, pretty well. Yeah, or lesser like feudalism it would be too. But yeah, it's not a problem in socialism. It's not a problem. Well, I suppose you could do UBI in capitalism, but that sounds like a fucking hellscape. That sounds like some Ready Player One bullshit. Yeah. Yeah, capitalism does inherently lead to exploitation. And again, unless you're heavily restricted to the point where, or regulated to the point where, again, it's basically social or market socialism. Like, I don't even know how. Yeah, I don't know how that would do that.
Exploitative. I don't see any reason to
That's exploitation. Well, of course.
Accept this definition, the Marxist definition of exploitation. I think it's much better defined as unfair use, and what exactly that means is a lot more complex. Is there sometimes or even often exploitation in capitalistic systems? Of course. There are unambiguous cases, like so. Obvious cases of exploitation, like wage theft and broken contracts.
And how capitalism works in general? What? How would UBI work under capitalism? We just give everyone universal basic income, and then still capitalism is a thing. That's it. That's the whole thing. That's how it works. It wouldn't be good. Hey, don't get me wrong. It wouldn't be good, but I think that would mitigate a little bit of... depending on what the UBI is, it would mitigate... because it'd still be capital and still the pursuit. So capitalism is not that you need labor. Capitalism is the pursuit of businesses is to maximize capital. So in a situation with UBI, you could still maximize capital by automating everything, driving prices down, ? And then providing UBI, but it's still not ethical. Yeah. Does she think those exploitative systems can be fixed under capitalism? Yeah, exactly. They're not things. They're not things. UBI is something that we should do whether we're in capitalism or not, but I definitely agree with you. It's a stepping stone left. I don't know how she makes this video and tries to say that exploitation only happens in specific cases in capitalism. Like, it's wild. Like, you're exploited for your labor if you don't share in the profits. That's it. If you don't share in the profits, and I don't mean at all, because obviously a wage is sharing profits. I mean sharing directly in profits. Like, you have to. You can't not. I just don't. Does she think factory animal farming has nothing to do with capital? I have no idea. Like, does she think factory farming would happen when there's no profit incentive to maximize output like that? I don't know. Like, there's still going to be a version of exploitation in pretty much any system, but it's to mitigate it. And capitalism is the worst at mitigating exploitation. I don't know why.
The same with animal agriculture. No choice is given to the animal, obviously. And obviously, it's impossible for there to be any sort of fair exchanged or any sort of deal made. So yeah, pretty unambiguous exploitation. There's also a strong case to be made for exploitation in the breakdown of regulatory systems, like monopolies. But that doesn't mean we can't understand how to evaluate fair exchange.
Having a wage is literal exploitation. If you make a wage, you are exploited. Because the wage is static. You don't make more money if you make more money. Does that make sense? You personally don't make money no matter how hard you work. That's not exploitation. Now, a capitalist would say, well, then they could be lazy. Good! Fuck you! You deserve them to be lazy, frankly, because they're not being paid like Amazon employees should be rolling in it. Let's just say that Amazon employees should be fucking loaded. They're not.
Exchanges. Do we have a long way to go in creating a fairer market via regulation? Certainly. Arguably, we still struggle with monopolies. But that doesn't mean communism is the answer.
Oh my God.
Which brings me to the second problem. There is no evidence for a practicable alternative.
There's no evidence for it? What does that mean? What do you mean there's no evidence? What? Do you mean anecdotal, like, examples of a country doing things? Do you know why that might be? Like,
and we can say animal agriculture is wrong is because we have well-established alternatives. We know humanity...
No, we don't. No! You can just think about it. Okay, all right. So she just said, we know that the way that animals are exploited is wrong because we have other examples of it not being bad. No. You can literally just think about it. This is philosophy 101 shit. This is like not even like ethically hard to answer. And I'm not a vegan. Is it more or less ethical to take an animal's life or not take its life? What's the more ethical answer? Easy. I don't have to think about, are there any examples? No. There's not. It depends on survival, I suppose, but it's only more ethical because we're humans, right? Just in general, just delete yourself from it. Is it ethical to kill a living thing or unethical to kill a living thing? It just exists. You don't exist. It's not for food. It's not for anything, even if it is for food. But like, is it ethical? No, it's not. Is it ethical to kill something for survival? It's less unethical to kill it for survival rather than to kill it for nothing. But it's not ethical, right? It's not how these words work. You know what I mean? Like, yes, it is obviously more beneficial to you and I to survive and get caloric value from the intake of meat or whatever, animal products in general, than to die without them. For us, it's more ethical. Is it more ethical for a cow to be slaughtered so that we may survive? No. From its perspective, it is not ethical for that to happen. So it just depends on what you're taking, you know? It's just really dumb. Either way, though, it's, I don't know, like for me, I know that vegans are more ethical, but there's also a question of like how much do you give a shit, right? I don't really give a shit that much. I give a shit a little bit, enough to be like, I'll buy, free range chicken eggs, right, from local farms that I'm aware of. I have this sort of relationship with food, like if you kill something, you don't let a lot of stuff go to waste. That's reasonable. Is it ethical? No. Is it less unethical? Yes. And so it's like, just do it where you can. Mitigation is really the key. This is what vegans and plant-based individuals should be on, is just think about it. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to do any specific thing. This branding, I think will work on a lot more people. Just mitigate where you can, okay? If you can afford the more expensive eggs, they're not 69 cents. I pay about $4 for a dozen eggs. Luckily, one subscription, thank you, Jeff, that pays for eggs. So I'm good. My eggs are paid for. You know what I'm saying? A little bit. If you, and I used to live next to a farm, which is why I'm a little egg bougie, okay? I used to live next to an egg farm. I grew up with these types of eggs, right? And so I don't really like the 69-cent eggs. I like the unbleached ones, the ones that have like actual nutrients in them. They eat grass, you can tell because the color is different and they taste better. I just like that better. And I also think it's more ethical. I like happy chickens, it's fine. They're not forced to breed or anything, they're just sort of free range and they have fewer eggs, so the price goes up. That's fine. Like, a lot of people don't even have access to fresh produce. This is what I was going to say. There's lots of places where they don't have access to this kind of stuff. I'm very lucky. I live in Michigan. We have produce like all year long. Like, I also live in the United States in general, so I'm going to be a little bit easier off. So, Bumble Homestead, thanks for the 17 months. Thanks for the eggs, bro. And then it's just like, maybe you want your own chickens, or maybe, I don't really fuck with milk, but I do like cheese. So like, just trying to find different spaces to try to mitigate where your harm comes from is like super ideal. Sometimes I'm plant-based for no reason. I just accidentally am plant-based for a day. And I won't even think about it. Or mostly plant-based. I don't know if Diet Dr. Pepper is plant-based or not. I think they get their caffeine. I think they suck it out of the veins of dying piglets. But other than that, very, very vegan. I could chug milk. Ugh. I hate milk like that. I'm not a big fan. Now, Fairlife milk is pretty good. They're pretty good to their cows. Would cows, would they even exist if we didn't farm them though? Probably not at this point. But is that more or less ethical than their suffering? Probably less ethical. Piglet adrenochrome. Yeah. So So it just depends. Just try to mitigate when you can and when you're comfortable and if you can afford it, and whatever is to your dietary needs. Some people have specific dietary needs and literally can't for survival. Like, the only protein source that Sarah can eat with her eating disorder is chicken, kind of. She can fuck with a little bit of pork, like bacon. She can trying to think of anything like maybe like jerky or something, like a little bit of jerky, but not a lot. And like potatoes and some very specific foods. Like she for her to go vegan, it would cut out 80% of her diet just because of how limited she is, right? And so just some people can't. So, I try to buy chicken that is a little bit more ethical for her to eat around here when we can. You know what I mean? Like, that's it. She can't do beef now. Nope. Yeah. I'm allergic to most animal products. That helps. Yeah. And so I don't know why we're not advocating for this. Like, I don't know. If you're a vegan, why are you advocating for fucking pro-capitalism shit?
You can survive on a plant-based diet. We can grow plants. We can grow only plants. We can feed the world's population, and we can do it without animal products.
Unless somebody has dietary restrictions, then they need it. Like, there's some people that need specifically animal protein. They can't process legumes and stuff. Like, this is real. Like, vaccines need aspects of animals in them. There's just stuff you need from animals. Sorry, bud. Just happens. We could try to be more ethical, but we're never going to be perfect. We can no longer keep pets. Probably anti-pet. Yes, but I love my puppy, and you can't take him from me. I'll kick you in your vegan teeth.
We just need a shift in the market. One product.
Because they need carnivorous diets. Yeah.
Instead
well,
of
do dogs need... I know they're omnivores. Do they need... They probably do need animal protein, just based on their bodies. Do dogs need animal protein? It might be breed specific as well. Vegetarian diet may be acceptable. Maybe. It depends on how they're bred. It seems. If they're close... If they're less bred... Like closer, like a husky, I think can would need animal proteins, but like a pug might not. But dogs can technically survive, but they won't be very healthy. Yeah, cats need meat. Cats 100% are carnivores. Please don't. They can't. Cats can eat grain, I guess, a little bit, but so that's interesting. But yeah. Hey, why did you, no. Darwin doesn't hang out with that cat, okay? Darwin hangs out with one and one cat only, okay? You respect her. Because of my condition, plant proteins are generally not enough. I can eat nuts, sure, but my doctor literally said I need meat. My body doesn't process other proteins nearly as well, and I get malnourished if I don't eat it. The way it was explained to me is that my body kind of has a weird filter where filters some proteins that can't get through, but meat proteins get through 100% of the time. Isn't that called something? Devious Chillster? I follow someone on Twitter, and I'm forgetting her name right now. It's a specific... damn it. What is the name of that? Shit, I'm totally forgetting the thing, but... Don't give cats milk. Ooh, unless you like them to have the runs. What is it called? I'm allergic to the entire nightshade family of foods: potatoes, tomatoes, all peppers, eggplant, paprika, tobacco, a bunch of other things. So vegan is kind of off the table for me. See, exactly. Allergies need to take... I don't know. This stuff gets pretty close to like ableist as fuck, in my opinion, and probably yours. A disorder that requires you to eat meat. Yeah. There's a... God, I forget what it's called, and it's driving me nuts. I can't remember her name either. She's been a fan of the show and me and Hannah for fucking years. Huh.
If there were evidence that veganism had the same catastrophic consequences that communism does, like we couldn't grow plants without manure, or we didn't know how to make B12, then we couldn't say animal agriculture is wrong. We couldn't advocate for its abolition because we would have no viable alternative, unless or until like clean meat were a thing. Morality is a product of choice. When it comes to dietary habits and food production, we have a choice, and we need to start making the right choice. When it comes to economics, the claim that we have a viable choice in communism just is not true.
Jesus. She's so in the weeds here. Oh my God.
None of this means that we shouldn't research economic theory and try to find something better. Just like in the hypothetical can't be vegan world, hopefully we would research how to make B12, how to farm without manure.
Hypothetical can't be vegan. Oh my God. Veganism is also Eurocentric. Very few traditional cuisines are vegetarian, let alone vegan. India has lots of vegetarian stuff. Africa has lots of... I mean, I don't know. I actually disagree. Maybe veganism, but vegetarian, there's lots of traditional vegetarian meals because vegetables are easy. What's with her and communism? I don't know. Yeah. She's up her own ass. She is up her own ass. I don't know how you find... Is it the scale of time that seems untenable? Because communism is like a long... They look at all... Remember, they're going to write history books about PlayStation 5. Like, you know, long in the future. I don't...
What it does mean is that it's wrong to advocate for abolishing capitalism based on some hypothetical work and based